Hey guys, so I got a DM from Attila on Twitter asking me about a few SEO tools that I use, and instead of just writing him back a few messages, I decided to kind of make a video. Maybe it's going to be easier, so both for him and for everybody else who's also interested. So for those who don't know, I have a Webflow content and SEO agency, and I work exclusively with scaling and preparing architectures for scaling of websites. So today we're gonna look at what tools I use daily, and maybe you're gonna find something, or if you don't, then you will be able to kind of look for alternatives for some tools or some stuff. So and then there's one disclaimer before we begin. I can't show some of those tools, like backends of them, how they work, without kind of breaking non-disclosures and showing some strategies or stuff like that. So I might be sustaining myself on certain tools not to show how I use them in this video. But if you guys are interested, be sure to leave a comment down below on which tool you want me to show you how I use it. And then I will kind of do my best to clean it up from all the things I have to hide, and then basically make a prepared showcase of how I use it in order to both make it valuable for you guys, but at the same time, protect clients' privacy and strategies that we work on, and a lot of other things. All right. So, and by the way, those OCD designers of you that just got subjected to this nonsense, I'm just gonna fix this, right? Okay. Now everybody's happy. We can start. No. Okay. You spotted that. Yeah. All right. Let's put it here as well. All right, so let's begin. So it's probably no surprise that for website development, I use So yeah, just as I was saying, for website development, we use Webflow, and there's no surprise. I'm not going to pitch to you. You all use Webflow. Let's carry on. Okay, so for proposals, it's quite tricky. I'm not your typical proposal sending guy, probably, but I use Loom. So I use Loom, and it's a surprise tool that will help us later, but I use quite a lot of it. That's because I usually set up those proposals in Figma, right? So where we are now, and then so basically these two tools that I'm using right now to record this video, that's how I do some of the proposals. And then if there's some sort of, I have to show stuff on Ahrefs, or I have to show some spreadsheets with some information or anything for clients, that's how I do it. And then I'm not happy with that part so far, but so I'm gonna improve it probably, but also like Gmail and emails. In emails, we're just gonna send the official stuff. So like if I send out a video that's like 20 minutes explaining what's the plan for the next 6 months or things like that, I would also then try to add all the more legal and more technical stuff in the email. So I'm not happy with the process the way it is right now, but it's the process now. So, and it's gonna improve as months pass by and we get deeper and deeper into this. So yeah, so basically, a combination of these should do the trick. In my case, it does. I know some areas I want to improve, and as you can see, I gave up on searching for the transparent versions. So we're just gonna eliminate that step in the next one. All right, so SEO is content and links. So let's start with the links part, okay? So the links part is kind of weird because it's you're preparing yourself for battles and stuff. So I use Ahrefs always, every day, all the time, Ahrefs, right? So I use Ahrefs because for me, I use both of the biggest players in town, and there's a few actually, but and I know it's quite expensive. I know it's not for everybody's alley, especially if you're like a developer, designer, or not even an agency or solo guy. This is a lot to pay, and you need usually at least this this plan to kind of have all the fun you need. The best part about Ahrefs is it's free for just your personal website and analytics. So if you're a Webflow designer or developer, you can just add your client sites to it and see your client's account should be doing that. But you know, it's just a one line of script inside your site, and it's gonna track a lot of things. So and you're gonna get like technical SEO errors, as in crawling and indexing errors that you can easily fix. So yeah, I recommend that for sure. And yeah, if you need alternatives to look at traffics and keyword difficulties and how many links you need to rank and keywords and how other website sitemaps look and what they rank for, how much traffic they get, like all that stuff you can do with Ahrefs. But if you need alternatives, here's a few alternatives. So I used SEMrush, and there was like a year or something where I had clients wanting me to use SEMrush and Ahrefs at the same time. And during that period, I picked my favorite, as you can tell. But if you have this, it's also good. Like same thing, similar tool. They don't have that much stuff here, probably because wait. All right, sorry, I clicked on add when I Googled it, not the real website. That's a big thing. So it was a landing page, not an actual site. So yeah, so they have all the similar tools in one sense. It's actually kind of more simplified and more basic, which is exactly what I don't like about it. But at the same time, it's just by a little. So it's not that it's that much, and there are benefits to using it. So so give it a shot if you wanna. And again, these types of softwares are not that cheap. So, and a couple of honorable mentions while we're here. So I have friends, and I actually worked on some projects where we used, translate this to English, sorry, my location. So used Ubersuggest. Again, not a bad tool. You can try it out and see what it gets you, but it's an alternative. So another alternative is Moz. Actually never in depth used it, but as you can see by their website, is kind of similar and to the others. So also like maybe worth a shot, but actually never used it. And last but not least, Screaming Frog is also something I can kind of recommend looking into. It's a little bit of different tool, and also, well, you'll see. So it's the same, but it's different. And if you like it, then you might like it. And all of these tools have some sort of free or semi-free version or something, so you can just check them out. But my pick is always Ahrefs, and I think it's worth. So the pricing they have, I gladly pay it, because it's just so much data that you cannot do anything without that data, and everything else then it's just a poorly educated guess if you don't use one of these types of software to estimate. So with that being said, so these are my two picks. I would go for Ahrefs, but if you want to go for SEMrush, no biggie. And then other ones we already listed out. All right, so let's continue. Content. Okay, so that's what I love, and that's what I enjoy the most. But again, you need certain tools for it, and not probably the tools that you think you need. So my main tool that I use for content is for sure MarketMuse. So, disclaimer, it's quite expensive, but at the same time, it's worth every penny, at least the way I see it. And I'll soon show you why. So, MarketMuse analyzes all search results, and let's put something like Webflow SEO agency, let's put in a website. It fetches the structure of the content of that page. Woo. And then it provides like a lot of valuable information for content that I'm not gonna get into detail about, but even heat maps of like words that it's using and a lot of other stuff. So this is like a game changer. And most important thing is that, as I just showed you, it was fetching before, and that it took a moment to kind of change. It shows like average word count on the web and what's your target and what's your content scores. For example, my homepage now is very badly optimized for Webflow SEO agency. So I have to work it out, and it gives me all the different things that I have to add. Maybe one of these even gonna be, which one was it? No, none of them. Okay, so sometimes it even gives you like different variations of stuff. You can fix your content, and it's the only downside, I would say, it's not a good editor inside here, as maybe opposed of the other tool I'm gonna give you, which does almost identical thing. But I like it more, and also I have like a legacy cool plan from back in the day that I just keep and don't want to stop paying, so that's why I don't use the other tool. But there's another alternative for this if you want to try it out. So there's also Surfer SEO, and this one kind of does the same thing, allows you to optimize content based on what needs to be there on the page to rank. Their pricing is kind of in the same ballpark, and I have a client that forces me to provide content through this, and I use it. The only thing I don't like is the font they use, so I don't like writing on it that much. Honestly, the only thing, but then not the only, because I'm just got used to just certain things. And just so you know, if you use one of these tools, it's not as simple as just like, oh, let's use suggested amount of words and let's use it. Yes, it is kind of, but also so far from the truth, because you can go real wrong with, if you just look at this and don't look into a lot of other data next to it, then you're gonna fuck up every time, every day of the month, like every day. If you use this as a last thing to on top add some more relevancy, so basically you get it from, I don't know, from here, for example, if you can write this at like score 22 without using any tools and then juice it up a few extra points on top, that's the way to use it. If you're just gonna start from zero and gonna look what to do, that's not the way to do it. That's not how content works. You have to understand other topics and use other tools before you get to this point. But for last finishing touches, it's super amazing. You know that you're missing word counts, you know a lot of things, and it does that by just analyzing top 20 results, give you top 20 results, scores of them. You can also click on them and just, you know, open it up. There's also a few countries that you can pick, or languages. So all in all, I love this tool. And if you want to test something else, just do Surfer. It's in a similar range. And while we're talking of Surfer, I actually have to, in this browser, because I have quite a lot of browsers, I actually have to install it. So I'm gonna show you one thing. So on different browsers, I have a little bit different, because each browser is adapted to certain project, or sometimes client, sometimes project, sometimes some old stuff, sometimes personal things. I know that in this browser I have to install one of the Surfer's free tools, so I'm just gonna do that now. And in the meantime, if we would not be seeing this, which is from another tool that I use, this would be how you would see the search on Google, right? But let's just wait a moment and see what happens after you install this extension to your Chrome browser. All right, so now we have it installed, Keyword Surfer, and let's see what happens when I refresh the same thing. Still, let's close. All right, so I see if somebody's paying for keywords and how much they're paying. In this case, there is an ad, but if there would be actual competition, it could estimate. It estimates of search volume for my country. I can change that to United States or something. Let's keep it the way it is. Wait, let's change. So I just changed it and see what happens. So this is $20 per click on estimate. So if I click now on this, Webflow just lost $20. It's estimated, not necessarily. Then I can see different variations that keywords overlap for this thing. Then I can see estimated search traffic of this keyword. Again, not insanely accurate, but at least you know that it's not 0, or at least you know that it's not 20, or it's a ballpark of stuff, right? And then you get other stuff next to it. And if you sign in with Surfer, you're probably gonna get other details. So yeah, give it a shot. And while we're at it, I'm gonna show you 2 more plugins in the same area to cover metadata and page structures. There's so many cool ways, and I imagine if you're a developer or designer, you have way much more cool stuff like, fonts, read fonts and things like that. So it's just an ever-ending thing, but I'm just gonna show my 2 favorites that I think not a lot of people know. And so here they are. So one is, I have it, don't use it that much, but when I need it, and I don't use it because of the second one. But when I need it, it's this one called Headings Map, and it just allows you to see heading structure of the page, right? So I intentionally took something really long and annoyingly complex type of content, which ranks in position 1 for, you can guess, here you go, you can guess what, for what. And then we get this map of all the headings on that page. So you can check if there's no errors, there's no double H1s and things like that. So that's just a quick way to see, basically anatomy of a page. And then the other one is, and the next one is SEO Minion. So this one, what I love the most, that you can highlight all the links on the page, which kind of makes it faster to see what's happening, especially when now design usually don't underline them, and SEO is content and links, so you can look at content and determine links real quick. You can also see which ones of them are internal, which ones are external. You can also see follow, no follow links, so that's also helpful. On Webflow we don't have no follow links, so oh well, but it is what it is. And then you can see some fundamental meta information. Is it too long, too short? What's the title tag? What's the meta description? Is there a canonical? Is there robots on this page? Some sort of that kind of basic stuff. You can also see headings. That's the reason why I sometimes don't use that. But not necessarily, but they sorted by type. So if you want to do sorting and see like gaps like this, errors like that, you can see it very simply. That's probably some sort of other thing, but yeah. And you can also see if open graph information is there. You can also download things like images. You can see images that don't have alt text. So that's kind of basic stuff, basic analysis of any page. And there's a few other cool tools that I will let you figure out on your own if you decide to get it. But as you can see, it's something that's for free, and as for a free tool, it does a lot. So yeah, so this covers basically metadata and page structures. And coming back to the content, we have Market Muse and Server. Now, before we jump into Webflow specific tools, let's first cover billing, monthly recurring payments, and things like that. So that's quite obvious. If you want to schedule something with me, it's going to be Calendly, so that's simple. And then the other thing we use is a backend where we charge Stripe payments, and we can make them recurring. And there's a lot of other cool features. So that's powered by Service Provider Pro. Maybe worth looking into it. So, but also not necessarily all of you need it. I just enjoy doing it that way. So with Service Provider Pro, it's easier to kind of manage, especially recurring tasks and stuff like that. But we don't actually use it as our task management software or project management software. We just use it as some sort of project payment software. Even though you kind of can use it the same way. So give it a look if you kind of something interesting to you would be like a agency backend or stuff like that. And it's a fun guys are running this software. You can see by this tiny detail over here. So it's a cool project. Really give it a look. So which means it's Service Provider Pro, Calendly for just that stuff. So back to Webflow tools. You probably know the picks, but let's just run through them real quick. So those are SEMflow. I'm not using it actually. I just pay for it. I hope they're gonna go from quality of free tool to delivering value one day. Because for me, SEO Mini and a few other free tools give way much more value for free than current state of SEMflow. I hope that's gonna be changed. I'm rooting for them to change that. So hence I'm paying for it. But as you can see, I'm not even using it. Then the other one is of course Reloom and Reloom library and stuff like that. No magic there. And FinSuite with all the good stuff that you can get from them. So that's the three main stuff that I use, and they're all, if you don't use them, start using them, all of them. And just the only note I'm gonna add for those who didn't see my launch SEMflow video, it's, if you're not a SEO, this is a cool tool. If you're an SEO, I don't know if it's a cool tool, but it's built for people who don't know SEO clearly, and it's okay. It helps. It's like a checklist that helps you fix some minor errors. But I hope, they're very young. They just released it a few months ago when I'm recording this video. So don't say no. Give it a try. Take a look. Maybe you're gonna like it. Other than that, Reloom and Client First, things you cannot stand without. Just use. If you don't use them yet, must start using both of these, whatever. Yeah, I'm not gonna go into detail. For those who don't know, just Google them. And for those who do know, high five. Hey, so while on this topic, I decided to show one more tool. So that tool is, I'm gonna show you. So it's Clip, and it's only for Windows, so yet at least, but it's a game changer, and let's see why. I'm gonna do a quick rundown. So first of all, it comes when you press your print screen, you can do a lot of crazy stuff, and it catches a lot of things like UI elements and things like that, you see. You can also do, as you can see, a lot of actions with it, and you can just, you know, screenshot things. Then you can also record GIFs, and yeah, now you're not. Pull. Yep, you know it. It's ClickUp. Two honorable mentions before I dig into why ClickUp, because that's gonna explain, make it easier for me to explain why not those two other tools that probably you started thinking immediately when you heard ClickUp. So of course it's Notion, and a lot of my clients use Notion. Therefore, I use Notion as well a lot. But for personal thing, not for. I'm gonna get to it, but Notion is awesome. it has certain limitations when you work with a lot of content, right? So for me, that's why I didn't pick Notion. But that doesn't mean that I don't use Notion, because if my clients use Notion, then I use Notion together with them. Another honorable mention is, of course, Airtable. And the reason for that is because it's a little bit more databasey, and I would find myself wanting to use it for certain projects. And I know now that I will use it for certain projects, but maybe more on that later in one of the videos, but also works almost identically. Now, the difference between these three tools is, I think, as follows. ClickUp is the middle ground. It's the between Notion and between Airtable. That's my kind of 2 cents, and I really truly believe that, right? It also has a lot going on, and it's not an easy software to learn. And if you are someone who likes simplicity, maybe that's not software for you. And maybe that's not software for your practice or your agency or your team or for you alone or whatever. But if you like everything as much as possible in one spot and connecting it that way, maybe it is. So, but it's not a simple software to start with. If you love it, you can't imagine your life without it. If you don't, then there's so many different alternatives. Like, there's so many project management software there. That's just if I would just make, this would be, if I would now list out all the alternatives I know and tried in the past over the last decade or so, this would be like another half an hour on what we have already. Notion is a little bit more creative and a little bit more free-flowy, that therefore people think it's awesome. And if they're very clean with their work ethic and they're really good at maintaining it, it can be very awesome. What I usually see is people are not that clean, and people not that OCD when it comes to certain things on average. So if they are in the Notion, it becomes a little bit cluttery because it's so free-flowing and free form when compared to, for example, ClickUp, right? And it's more of a document-based, and ClickUp is more of a still task-based, even though it has all the things from Notion. They copied every single feature. It's there, almost everything. Now, Airtable is very databasey. So it's not great for content, especially editing it inside as one of the line elements. So it's more spreadsheety. And if you like to work a little bit more spreadsheety, this is probably the way to do it. They're all quite identical and can do same things, but just it's a pick of vibes, I would say. And also sometimes you need to use one or the other, because if you have to connect it to certain tools, there's stuff, right? Especially Airtable is great if you want to manage content directly, pushing it through to Webflow. But then again, the issue starts where you're gonna write it. So, But, so basically my pick is like this. Airtable is very spreadsheety, and if that's the way you wanna work with data, go that way. Notion is on the other side of that. It's very free-flowy and creative, and it's like document-based. So it's more like docs would be Notion to that side, and spreadsheets would be Airtable to that side. And then if you need something in between, might be that ClickUp is your way. And I needed actually something in between. I don't want to be only spreadsheets, and I don't want to be only documents, because, and I know that all three of them have all the same functionality, both docs and some sort of task/docs way, and also the database spreadsheet way, but that's just my pick. All right, so enough on that. And then